Imagine, for just a moment, a single place that holds the sum of all human knowledge. I mean, every story, every discovery, every scrap of genius from the entire known world, all gathered under one roof. Now, this sounds like a fantasy, right? But it wasn't. It was real, built of marble and pure ambition on the shores of the Mediterranean. But it's a reality we can no longer touch, a memory that's now shrouded in smoke and mystery. Today, we're going to explore the incredible rise and the tragic fall of the greatest library in antiquity, the Great Library of Alexandria. You know, to really feel what was lost, we first have to get our heads around the sheer scale of what this place was. Picture Alexandria at its absolute peak, this bustling global capital where Greek, Egyptian, and Jewish cultures were all mixing together. Ships from literally every known port are packed into its harbor. And right there, at the very heart of it all, was the library. It was like a sun drawing in the greatest minds on Earth. And this was never, ever just a warehouse for books. No way. It was a living, breathing engine of intellect. Inside those halls, funded by the incredible wealth of kings, scholars didn't just read the scrolls. They argued over them, they corrected them, and they used them as a launch pad for discoveries that would echo for centuries. It was, for all intents and purposes, the world's first global research university. And its currency? Knowledge itself. 700,000. Let that number sink in. That's the high-end estimate for how many papyrus scrolls were kept here. And we're not talking about 700,000 books like you and I think of them. Each one was a painstakingly handwritten record. I mean, everything from the epic poems of Homer to lost plays of Sophocles, from Babylonian star charts to the medical notes of Hippocrates. The collection was this breathtaking, absolutely audacious attempt to create a complete catalog of human thought. So you're probably wondering, how did they gather so much so fast? Well, they had a policy that was both brilliant and pretty ruthless. See, the Ptolemaic kings were obsessed. Their agents were sent all over the world to buy up texts. But they also passed a pretty unique law for the port of Alexandria. Any book found on any ship that docked was immediately confiscated. It was taken to the library, the scribes would make a perfect copy, and that new copy was given back to the owner. The original scroll, oh, that stayed in the library's collection forever. And this is where the story starts to turn toward tragedy. This line, even though it's from a play, just perfectly captures the terror at the heart of the library's legend. The idea that this irreplaceable collection, the literal physical memory of the ancient world, could just be wiped out. It's a nightmare that's haunted us for 2,000 years. But how did it really happen? Well, the story isn't as simple as one big fire. Let's dig into the dynasty that built this dream and the long, slow series of events that brought it all to ruin. Okay, so let's rewind a bit. The library wasn't just some building. It was the absolute crown jewel of a dynasty's grand vision. After Alexander the Great died, his trusted general, Ptolemy I, he takes control of Egypt. And he wanted Alexandria to be more than just a center of power. He wanted it to be the center of learning for the entire world. He wanted to fulfill Alexander's dream. Now here's a crucial detail. The Great Library wasn't a standalone thing. It was actually part of a much larger institution called the Museon, which means Shrine of the Muses. Honestly, you should think of it as the world's first state-funded think tank. The greatest minds of the era were invited to come live and work there, completely tax-free, with free room and board and a royal salary, all for one purpose: to advance human knowledge. The library was their main tool. It was their laboratory. Really, it was their entire universe. What this all shows is just the sheer scale of the ambition here. So you have Ptolemy I, he's the visionary. His son, Ptolemy II, is the builder, who makes it a wonder of the world. And their mission was just jaw-droppingly bold, to collect all the books in the inhabited world. The whole thing was even split into two parts. You had the main mother library in the royal quarter, and then later, a smaller daughter library was set up at a temple to handle the overflow and maybe serve a more public role. So what happens when you get all the smartest people together in one place and give them access to all the world's knowledge? Well, you get an absolute explosion of genius. This vast collection of scrolls created a crucible for discovery. The library wasn't just sitting there, it was an active engine, birthing ideas that were centuries, sometimes even millennia ahead of their time. I mean, just look at this. This perfectly illustrates the kind of work they were doing. Aristophanes, one of the head librarians, heard that way south, in a city called Syene, on the summer solstice, the sun was directly overhead. It cast no shadow at the bottom of a well. But back in Alexandria, at the exact same time, it did. So by knowing the distance between the two cities and just measuring the angle of that shadow, he calculated the circumference of the Earth. And his result was stunningly, almost impossibly accurate. This wasn't magic, it was math, observation, and access to a universe of information. And Eratosthenes was just one of many. Euclid note the elements, literally the textbook for geometry for 2,000 years, inside these walls. Archimedes almost certainly studied there right around the time he had his famous Eureka moment. Zenodorus, the very first head librarian, did something incredible. He took all the messy, conflicting versions of Homer's Iliad and Odyssey and created the first standardized editions, even dividing them into the 24 books we still use today. And centuries later, the brilliant scholar Hypatia would teach philosophy and astronomy there, a beacon of learning in a world that was rapidly changing. But, as we know, legends of great light often cast equally great shadows. The story everyone thinks they know about the Library of Alexandria is its destruction. You know, a single catastrophic fire that set humanity back 1,000 years. But the truth? Well, the truth is far more complicated, and maybe, just maybe, more tragic. There wasn't one single moment of destruction. It was more like a death by 1,000 cuts, spread out over centuries. The first big hit came in 48 BC. Julius Caesar, in the middle of a civil war, set fire to his own ships in the harbor. Some ancient writers claim the fire spread and burned a warehouse full of scrolls, but this was likely just a storage depot, not the main library itself. Then 3 centuries later, Emperor Aurelian's army basically destroyed the royal quarter where the main library stood. And finally, in 391 AD, a Christian mob following an imperial order to destroy pagan temples demolished the Temple of Serapis, which housed that daughter library. So, all of this leads us to the central debate among historians today. Was the library lost in a series of dramatic fires, or did it just fade away? The popular image is that single giant inferno, but the scholarly consensus points to something quieter, and in its own way, much sadder. On one side, you've got the Great Fire theory. It's the movie version, right? A romantic, tragic story of sudden loss with Caesar as the main villain. But on the other side, you have the theory of gradual decline, which is what most of the evidence points to. The real turning point might have come way back in 145 BC, long before Caesar, when a king expelled all foreign scholars from the city. The royal funding just dried up. The head librarian job became a political appointment, not a scholarly one. Then, under Roman rule, the money was inconsistent and the city was constantly being torn apart by civil unrest. The Great Collection probably suffered from neglect, was slowly broken up, or simply rotted away long before the last walls actually fell. And this is such a fascinating question to think about. I mean, the image of a great fire is dramatic, it gives us a single villain, a single moment to point to and mourn. But what if the truth is actually more profound? What if the world's greatest collection of knowledge wasn't destroyed in a blaze of glory, but was simply allowed to wither and die because of indifference, intolerance, and political neglect? Isn't that an even greater tragedy? Whether it was by fire or just indifference, the end result is the same. The library is gone. And we're left to wander its ghost halls, just wondering about all the knowledge it once held. The empty spaces on our historical bookshelf are just vast. And their silence is, well, it's haunting. Ultimately, the loss is just immeasurable. We lost historical accounts from points of view other than Rome's. We lost philosophical works that could have completely changed the way we think. We lost scientific documents, like the work of a man named Aristarchus, who argued that the Earth revolved around the sun 1,800 years before Copernicus. We didn't just lose information, we lost entire ways of seeing the world. The story of Alexandria forces us to confront a really unsettling thought. We like to imagine progress as this straight upward line, but what if it's not? What if humanity is capable of forgetting on a massive scale? What if we've already discovered and then lost answers to some of the biggest questions we're still asking today? And that leaves us with a final, chilling question. We can speculate about all the lost histories and the forgotten science, but the truth is, we will never really know what vanished. The story of Alexandria is a timeless warning. It's about the fragility of knowledge and the incredible danger of taking its preservation for granted. It's a powerful reminder that the memory of mankind is not written in stone, but on fragile pages that can be burned, neglected, or just allowed to fade away into silence.